Dad, Daddy, Dad, Dad.
What?
I love you, Dad.
Oh, okay. Love you too.
What I like to say is I'd never, ever, ever, ever hit a kid. But I shake the shit out of them.
I was like, I don't even know where this is going, bro. Last time we were talking about Diddy and now we're talking about fucking...
I shake the shit out of them.
Welcome back to Relatable Dads Unscripted, figuring out fatherhood one honest conversation at a time. Today, I'm AJ.
I'm Ruel still.
Yeah, to be fair, why did I say today I'm AJ?
Well, because maybe some days you're not.
Well, yeah.
Anyway.
Shirley.
Anyway, so today is a little bit different. So today we're going to be we're going to be watching a video, which we're going to place on the video screen so you guys can watch it. And then we're going to be talking about this video. It's a video, we've both watched it a couple of times now, and it's about Trad Dad, which is maybe making a comeback. Maybe they want it to make a comeback. I didn't really know what a Trad Dad was before watching that video. I didn't know this was a thing. Yeah. But we're talking about Trad Dads. If you don't know what that is, I'm assuming it stands for traditional dad. It doesn't actually say what it is, but yeah. I don't know. That's what it is. I think it's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. So today we're talking about Trad Dad.
This is why the traditional dad, the trad dad, needs to make a comeback. Not all the way back to the 1950s psychopath who never said he loved you and hit you with a belt, but just back to the dad who believes that because I said so is a perfectly legitimate answer to any question a child may have. Just back to the dad who would never say anything as stupid as, my kid is my hero, or where do you want to eat dinner, or one more story and then we really have to start thinking about going to bed, okay? Trad dads don't negotiate. They say, you will apologize to your mother. Don't make me turn this car around. Some things just happen because life is unfair. Clean your room, be quiet, the adults are talking, and it's not all about you. Mostly, a trad dad knows he's your parent, not your friend. Hey, buddy isn't in his vocabulary. He isn't your emotional support animal. He's simply a guy who understands the job to raise an adult who can survive in the wild.
So, off of the video which you've just seen, we did a couple of little talking points that I wanted to speak to Rue about and he wanted to have a little chat with me about and kind of see what your thoughts were about it as well. So, kicking it off, hitting kids. Where'd you go? Where's your standpoint on that?
Okay, right. Well, what I like to say is I'd never, ever, ever, ever hit a kid. But I shake the shit out of them.
I was like, I don't even know where this is going, bro. Last time we were talking about Diddy and now we're talking about fucking...
I shake the shit out of them. No, look, so I grew up with a slap. I mean, I didn't get many because I was smart, right? But my brother got a few more than me because he wasn't as smart as me. That's why, okay, anyway, he might disagree. But anyway, so I think getting a slap from your parent, right? Sometimes you need a little bit of a slap to keep yourself in line. Sometimes you might have been, even when you're in a situation of like in the street, sometimes you can act the fool sometimes. And sometimes someone might hold you accountable and give you a slap for it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think having a little slap here and there isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's become like a thing where you should never hit your kids. But at the end of the day, they've got to know there's a line. And sometimes I think particularly we're also with boys than girls, because at the end of the day,
right, just quickly, rule of thumb, agree, disagree, hit kids, not hit kids.
I don't think it's...
Just a straight yes or no.
All right, so I'm going to say, yes, it's okay.
Beat the shit out of them.
But not beat the shit out of them, yeah. I think I'm going to say, yes, it's okay, but it's all about the force that you use. I think, so say hitting kids is a very broad spectrum. Do I go around and start bunching up kids? No. Would I hold a fist to my kid? No. But would I give him a little like, what are you talking about, fool? Do you know what I mean? I mean, me and my son had this joke the other day, actually, it's funny as hell. So I said to him, the best place for me to slap you, son, is the bottom of your foot. Because then if anyone ever says anything about it, I'll just tell them you jumped off something.
Wow.
We were cracking up about it. But
I'm getting cancelled, bro. That
shit. I was cracking up, man. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, I think giving your kid a little slap now and then to just kind of hold him in line. But obviously, it all comes down to the amount of force you use. I'm not a big dude, but I'm a strong guy. You can't be going up, punching up your kid, hitting up your kid hard. But I do agree on this thing. You should never hit your kid when you're angry. Now, there's a difference, right? So if your kid has pissed you off, right, you've done something and they've done something that's really pissed you off, if you slap them then, Are you slapping them to teach them, or are you slapping them because you're pissed off and your aggression and anger? Don't hit your kid out of anger. Give them a slap because they've crossed the line. But if you hit your kid in anger, that's a different situation.
Your own emotion, which is playing into it.
Exactly. So therefore, you're no longer doing it to teach them a lesson or teach them something. You're doing it to do something for yourself, and you're emotionally responding to something that they've done, rather than, you know, I'm going to give you a little slap here because this is something you've done wrong. It's much more an emotional thing.
Saying that, yeah.
Well, you haven't answered the question. Slap, you know, make me look bad.
I'm not making you look bad. You made yourself do that. Yes, I do think it has a place. But like what you just said then, I notice if I work nights quite a bit. So I'm really tired and then the kids are pissing me off and I lose my shit with them. I then reflect back on it and think, did I lose my shit because I'm tired? Or did I lose my shit because they're pissing me off?
Goes back to the previous accountability.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So I've then gone to them and been like, look, I'm really tired. I'm sorry for the way I reacted.
Yes.
But you've done X, Y, Z. So I'm taking accountability. I've reacted differently to how I would normally react if I was on a fresh night's sleep. But then also telling them, like, you did X. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you still shouldn't have done what you've done.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes when you hit in anger...
saying about the anger side of things, it's made me then resonate to how I deliver in terms... Yeah.
I think, again, like, because if you hit your kid out of anger, they don't actually learn nothing from it anyway. They just think, oh, okay, so he's angry. So he hit me because he's angry. They don't remember what they did wrong. So actually, I mean, also, there's different ages as well. I think, and also different style of kids. So for example, you might find some kids, for example, when we were growing up, my sister didn't need a slap. My sister was just like, okay, so I mean, straight away when she was younger. Whereas my brother was a different, because my brother didn't hear, he only felt. My brother had no hearing whatsoever. He did, but he didn't, you wouldn't think he did, because he literally would need to get a slap. He would go to the point of a slap every time. It was like, that was his no marker. My mum could have said no a million times. She could have threatened him, taken stuff away from him. He was not stopping until he got the slap. Do you know what I mean? So different types of people. So I think you have to look at your kids as well and go, actually, is a slap going to teach them anything, or is it going to have the negative effect? And they go, oh, that just got hurt. Do you know what I mean? So I think nowadays, but I think parents are also scared now. And now, this is where I think it's wrong, right? Because I think nowadays the kids have almost like a weapon.
Power.
Yeah, a weapon over you. And they use it in school. You can't hit me. You're my teacher. Whereas back in the day, the teacher was like, yeah, you want to bet? So, and I think when the kid thinks that I've got power over my parent, I can call social services. If I said to my mum I could call social services, then I'd have got a slap.
Bro, I'll give my kid the phone.
My mum would say, I'll give you a reason then. That's what my mum would have said. Oh, you want to call? Okay, let me give you a reason so you got something to talk about. You know what I mean? That's how my mum would have rolled.
That's the thing. My kids know. I'll pass them the phone and I'll dial it for them. So I'll Google it, pass them the phone and be like, there you go, ring who you want to ring.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, social services come to my house. I'm telling them, I did smack my child for X reason.
Yeah.
Like, you're not raising my kid. I'm raising my kid. And I want my kid to be a good, upstanding citizen within
100%. Yeah.
So that's my ultimate bottom line goal, is I want my kids to be in public and be respectable humans. So if that's how I feel that I need to do that, then that's how I'll do it.
Because social services ain't going to come around when your kid's doing something on the street that you shouldn't be doing. They're going to say, oh, bad parenting. Well, when I tried to give him a slap, and you didn't want me to do that. So again, I think it's all about down to the kind of hit, the way you hit, why you hit, and the responses you had. But I'll be honest, in most cases, I find that just talking to them in general and kind of helping them understand where their wrongs were.
The whole I'm not angry, I'm disappointed.
That one's the killer, isn't it? Like, I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed. And you're like,
you know, I wanted to say that to my kids so bad. When I was like, before I had kids, I was like,
can't wait to say that.
Definitely like that.
You upstairs like just crying. My mum's disappointed.
I'd
rather she hit me.
I remember my mum hit me once, and she chased me with a wooden spoon around the house. We had a little flat, She chased me around, and then she went to lick me, and I moved, and it hit the radiator and broke the wooden spoon. But she was so much more pissed off. And I was just like, boy, you try to lick me with a spoon? I ain't gonna stand there when you lick me.
You know what I used to do, right? So when we were younger, so when my mum was up, my mum used to do this thing, right, which I think is actually good. And also it meant that the angle was not there. So my mum would go, right, go upstairs, I'm going to give you a lick later. So you just be upstairs waiting.
Anticipation of it.
That was the worst part because you're like, wait, no, God, mum's going to beat my ass later. You'd be sitting there panicking for hours, like, and she'd just be downstairs. You think she's just sitting there thinking about shit. She's just chilling, watching TV, watching EastEnders, you know what I mean, having a cup of tea. I'm upstairs, like, freaking out. Mum's going to kill me. And then you come down and she's like, Roo! You take the longest walk. It's like Green Mile, bro. That's what it felt like in my eyes. Like, every step.
About to get
I'm
up.
already crying.
Mum, can I at least have a good last meal?
wait, let me tell you something. Like, because honestly, oh mate, that moment. But I was also smart, right? So what I'd do is I was like, right, my mum's gonna beat me soon. So I'd either put like a couple pairs of trousers on, 3 pairs of trousers on, just to soften the blow, innit? So I was like, yeah, thinking ahead, right? So I remember saying to my brother at one point, like, yeah, I'll put like trousers on. I'll put a book down my pants, like a thin, you know, those thin book. I'm going to put a book down my pants and then put a couple pairs of trousers on. So I go downstairs. My mum probably knew, but I was like, yeah, I'm smart as hell, right? My mum would come here, put me over there, right, book. Never was a bad lick. It was because of the situation, but that meant she weren't angry about it.
Yeah,
she was just, no, so without realizing it, she was already doing that without, you know what I mean?
So you have got that without hitting in anger from your mum then?
Yeah, but yeah, because without even real. I mean, to be honest with you, I've only just had that thought now.
Yeah.
But she would have like, yeah, she was just anticipating, and you get a little slap, and I come upstairs, like, didn't hurt. I'm like, yes, I got upstairs. Often my brother would be waiting on the stairs.
Pussy.
Yeah, my brother would be waiting on the stairs for his lick because we were all getting licked at the same time. We're all in a line, like, oh God. And it was like, you're in first, take it in turns for your punishment, right? Then my brother would get his lick, right? And he'd done the same. He put a book on. So he'd go, ha! That didn't hurt. I got a book in my pants, innit? That didn't hurt. See, that's
stupid.
That's what I'm saying, because that's why he always got extra licks. My mum, okay. So then she
take the book out.
Then she just
I want bare skin.
You know, I got bare skin. And she's like, rap. And he's like, I got hit so much harder. No, because you're stupid, bro. Why you have to go and tell her? I just went upstairs like,
we need to get your brother on there.
yeah, we do. I was just upstairs like, that didn't hurt. I'm cool with that. I just took it nice and inside, but you know, my brother always to go. That's what I'm saying. He needed to feel a good skin on skin.
See, I'm not buying, bro. I'm just like, don't. No, so I remember, one time I hit Ivy on her leg, and afterwards I felt bad in it, and I apologized, because it was at a time when her dad was coming back into her life. So my emotions were all over the place. Dan's emotions were all over the place. Ivy's emotions were all over the place, and she reacted to something ridiculous like the chocolate melting.
Yeah,
and like. Basically, like, long story short, I end up hitting her on her leg because we end up having like an argument, blah, blah, blah. But then I realized that it wasn't down to that. It was the fact that the emotional side of it was what led me to that.
Yeah. Wasn't actually going to do that.
Yeah, I sat down with her, like, and I was like holding her. I was like, I'm really sorry for hitting you, blah, blah, blah. And then, but yeah, I can't, I think in terms of hitting my kids, I think I've like smacked their hand when they've smacked each other. But I do stupid punishments. Like I've
seen these.
Yeah, like they'll fight. So I'm like, cool. You want to fight? Do love circle. So I make them sit down cross-legged, holding hands, and I'm like,
I've seen this. We need to put this a video.
Yeah, I would make them sit down, holding hands, like just telling them as many. Sometimes if I'm annoyed with them for like whatever reason, I'll prolong it. So I'll make them sit down for like half an hour, looking into each other's lovingly, holding each other's hands, and I have to say lovingly things back to each other.
Yeah.
But like, especially at the start of a weekend, like on like Saturday morning or whatever, they'll be fighting. It's usually seen as the antagonist.
Yeah.
So they'll be fighting whatever, and then I'll be like, all right, love circle, and then they'll do love circle, and for like half an hour, whatever, 10, 15 minutes, whatever. And then after that, the rest of the weekend, they're so loving to each other. It's nuts. And it's like, I started doing that. And then I'll just think of like random, so for some reason, these kids think that they live in jail houses, innit? And they'll slam the door like it's made of metal. So I'm like, are you stupid? Why are you slamming the door so hard? So I made them.
I know you were saying I've done this as well.
I like this, I know. I made them open the door, shut the door without making a noise. If I heard a noise, I had to start again.
I've done similar.
I made them do it 50 times each. Bro, I'm telling you now, yeah. I was like, we're doing a lesson now, innit? Because obviously you don't hear. So I'm gonna sit on the other side of the room. Yeah. I don't want to hear that door close once, but we're gonna count out 50. So that if I hear it once, we're starting all over again. And that's both of you starting again as well.
Yeah, yeah. So the team.
Yeah.
100%. So that's your military background.
Yeah. I was like, and then I was like, yeah, sick.
Working together.
Yeah. And then in the end, so there's 100 in total. You think I hear my door in the house now? No. Yeah. And I'm like, do we need to do another lesson?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, we don't need another lesson, Dad. I'm like, all right, cool.
It's good.
Trad Dad, motherfucker.
Yeah, yeah. Do you know what I mean? And that's the thing. I think finding other ways. I think if you can find other ways to teach the lesson, my kids will, they're a bit older now. They're like, oh, here we go. Another one of Dad's talks, Dad's lessons. Because now that your kids will do the same in a few years' time. Because I used to do similar things to that. Kind of like, oh, I know. I mean, I made them to sit and cuddle at the bottom of the stairs for ages and walk around cuddling and stuff. So do like, not quite like the love circle like you, but I'll be like, oh no, you're going to have to sit and cuddle for a little while and then pretend like you love each other or something. But obviously it's hard. They're older. So they're like, they're cuddling each other, but they're like digging each other in their ribs and stuff. And then they've got like, whoever's going to cry about the dig. Do you know what I mean? And I do things the same, similar sort of things. So I think there's a place for a slap, but I think more importantly than the slap, it's the fear of the slap. Knowing that you could slap them and you would slap them, I think that's what's missing. I don't think we need to hit kids as such, as long as they fear that they can get a slap. Yeah. You don't want
repercussions.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I think that they know that there's a next level there. That's enough. And once they know that it's there, then it's cool. You never really have to reach it. But if you openly say, I'd never hit my kids, then they go, ha! That's cool.
Well, me and my mum got this thing, so she saw these fucking gentle parenting bollocks. And I ain't no gentle parent in it.
No, same.
Like, you see when we're going to get a bit...
What? Cancelled?
Yeah, probably.
Oh, man, every episode, right?
Well, no, so like, you see when you see a mum, I won't even have to say anything else on this, but she's like, Tulip, stop doing that.
I'm going to drink my drink.
Tulip, stop doing that, please. Tulip, please stop doing that.
You feel like just slapping Tulip.
Tulip, stop it now. Stop, Tulip. That's not nice, is it, Tulip? Stop it. And you're like, bro, I would never say my youth's name that many times. I'm like, what the fuck? Just tell your kid in it. Like, but that's the general parenting side of it.
Yeah.
I ain't
same tone. I'm not that parent. When you've heard me tell my kids off, I will only like to. My kids say no. If they say, oh, don't make me repeat myself again. Do I look like I like repeating myself? I'm not.
Dan always says, I hate repeating myself. What'd you say, babe? I hate repeating myself. She done it the other day. She's like, I fucking hate repeating myself. I'm like, what? She's like, I hate repeating myself. I'm like,
That's what I'm like. I'm like, did I start that motherfucker?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Callum will come to me and say like, Dad, can I have my PlayStation back now? And I'm like, no. And then they come, Dad, why can't I have my PlayStation back? Bro, why are you asking me why for?
Like, what would you say then? No. What would you say then?
I don't. That depends on the situation. But no, don't make me start.
Would you say that?
Well, yeah. Because I don't need a reason. Because I said so. I don't need a reason or something.
So you are a trad dad then?
Well,
because I said so.
Well, yeah, exactly. If that's what trad dad is, I'm a traditional dad. But yeah, or like.
So we've got a bullet point of like that
of the video.
And one of the bullet points was because I said so. So
yeah, I mean that links us perfectly back into it, I suppose. Yeah, I do say that because I said so, or I don't need a reason. At the end of the day, if I say something, that's it. I don't need a reason. I don't need a rhyme. Just it is what it is because that's the way it is. Yeah. As simple as that. 100%. I think more kids need that.
Yeah, 100%.
More kids that. I don't need to give you a reason while I've made a rule. I've made a rule. Simple as that. When you contribute some sort of financials to my yard, then you have an opinion of how the stuff is run.
Financials. It's like it's a respect boundary, innit? Like ultimately,
but that's what I say to my mum.
Yeah.
She said to me, innit? gives them a place where they think they might have a point later on. Yeah, 100%.
And you ain't on this level. Like it's a fact.
True.
I'm your dad. You're my
Do
child.
you know what I say to my kids as well? Like, my mum says to me, they'll be like, "That's my house." No, they're saying your house, bro. This is my house. I don't see you putting any money into the bill. My house, your bedroom that you call your bedroom. That's my bedroom. You just live there. You stay there. That's a place that you stay.
You're old enough. There's rent getting paid.
100%. They need to understand.
Then you can rent it from me.
Exactly.
But it will still be mine.
I'm just letting you stay here, rent free. So you better pay up something. Do you know what I mean? You better do some chores. You better do some stuff because at the end of the day, this ain't your yard. Don't get it mistaken. This is my yard that I pay for. You're just a visitor, and because you're nice. I like you, so you get to stay here a little longer. But if I don't like you anymore, the door's going to be open for you.
Oh, that's another topic point.
Again, it ain't... okay, we're probably going to sound like horrible parents, I suppose. They're like, people be looking at, I thought these guys were such nice parents.
No, but this is the thing.
It's the fear of it as well.
Yeah.
So they need to know that we're not just going to be airy-fairy, let them get away with everything. Kids need to know in life as well, there is a repercussion for your actions. Every little action causes a reaction. As simple as that, as Bob Marley said.
Wow. We're quoting Bob.
Yeah, it's got to throw it in there at some point.
We need to do an episode where we just...
Random quotes.
I can't blaze because obviously I get drug tested at work. But like, just get licked. Just do bare tequila and just do an episode.
Bro, I don't drink or do any of that stuff. So
we'll do one episode of just...
where we're drunk?
Yeah.
I don't think that's a good episode.
I do. I think
I'm already fairly hyper. People already think I'm on stuff as it is.
You know what I said? I brought up the fact that we're doing a podcast the other day, yeah, and I said unscripted. One of my mates messaged me and was like, unscripted. That's fucking bad news for you. I was like, yeah, we're definitely getting cancelled.
To be honest, I also thought that about it. When you come to me with the idea, I was like, maybe we need a little script up in there, a little piece. I feel like we need like a bleep over you. I feel like we might need a bleep at some point. It's like at the moment it's kind of new. You're kind of like sticking with like, you're keeping under the radar. But I feel like give it like 6 months. You're like, fuck this shit. Right, the next one's my kids are my superhero. My hero. Now, I don't know what your point is here. What did you think to this? Do you think your kids are your hero?
100%.
See, I'm good.
100%.
Okay, because he says my kids are my superhero, like as if that's a bad thing.
No, 100%. Like, I wouldn't be the person I am today without my children. And like, I'm one of them.
So that means you're not a trad dad.
I'm not. Well, no.
We're in between.
I feel like there's a
little middle.
You see, when we got this, I messaged straight away and was like, I feel like I'm the perfect balance of both, because as we'll go on a little bit further, but like, I would definitely say my kid is my hero. Like, this is a later episode, but like, I've struggled with mental health and stuff like that, and I've struggled with like suicidal thoughts, blah blah blah. And the one saving reason why I'm still here to this day is because of my kids. So
100%.
how is that not a hero?
Yeah,
like,
they kept you alive.
Yeah, 100%. So like, and I can. This is another video, but the oxytocin, like, I can be having a bad day, and then literally I'll come home, Ro will run up to me and just like give me a massive hug, and I'm like, it's all good.
Yeah.
Or like, I'll just like, even just Sienna will come out of school, run up to me, give me a hug, and I'm like, it's all good.
They have the ability to change your mood in an instant, in a loving moment. And sometimes I feel like they know it.
Yeah.
Like they know when you're down. I know with Callum, whether he wants to, he definitely knows when you're upset. And he can come up to me sometimes and be like, Dad, you're all right. I'm like, yeah,
we spoke about it.
Exactly.
Emotional intelligence.
Yeah, he's definitely like that. So I think my kids are my hero in that respect too, but in the same breath as well, I also look at them sometimes and, I put them through some fitness paces and they've done a lot of different things. And I just think sometimes, I was always fit kid, strong kid, but some of the ways and some of the tonality that they have, that's the right word, probably not. Tenacity. Yeah. Whatever it is, right? We don't know. As long as we don't spell it, we're good. But I look at them and I think,
so by the way, he can't read. So We're going to be setting up a Patreon, Fun Rue's reading, but yeah.
I can read. I'm dyslexic, right? You can't say I can't read. I can
speak. I can read. No, can.
I can read, okay, but I'm a slightly bit dyslexic, right? So sometimes words are a little bit dodgy for me. Okay?
So Richard Branson is one of the best entrepreneurs in the world, and he's dyslexic. So
yeah, no, I don't know how I mean, I'm not there, so.
No, but like, we're going to.
You never know. Anyway, so my kids, yeah, I mean, the way they deal with situations, the way they've dealt with our divorce and things like that, I respect them. It's not a case that not necessarily that they're my heroes, but I respect their way they've behaved and the way they are. But then in the same breath, that's a testament to our parenting, and that's Nicola as well, how we've parented them, and we've brought them up. But in the same breath, yeah, definitely. I wouldn't. That's a part I wouldn't agree with. Like in sense of the kids can't be a superhero, not superhero, can't be. As soon as I say hero, I think super. So it's because I'm a child. But anyway, Spider-Man.
No, I personally think my kids are my heroes. So I'm here for it.
All right, let's move on to the next point. One more story.
So that's referring to like the kids saying, one more story, and then I'll go to bed. One more story.
We already know about this because you know that you are. Or I can see about. I already know what you're going to say.
What?
Because you're making a rod for your back. You're going to do straight up.
No, to be fair, I know that this window of opportunity of them wanting me to read to them and wanting me to be a part of their like going to bed and whatnot is a very small window. So if my son says, "Can we have one more story?" They're only like, what's another 2-3 minutes? I'm like, go on then. I'll do one more story. And like, I read on my Kindle to him.
Yeah.
But he knows, like, I'll put my tablet on and he knows where the app for the Kindle is and he'll straight away go to there.
Yeah.
And like, we'll read a story and he's like, but like, he loves it. And then he gets onto my back and then I read, Dan doesn't really read to him too much. So if I'm putting him to bed, I love like putting him to bed and I love like reading him stories. And then I read on my bed and then he'll get onto my back and then I'll take him to bed and then I'll put him into bed and like him kiss him right. But yeah, I personally think one more story isn't a problem. Like obviously,
I think the point he's trying to make is
they're telling you what.
Well, I think, say for example, you've read 4 stories and then they say one more. It's like you've had 4 now. What point is it too much?
So I always say, so I'll read him one and then he'll say one more story and I'll be like, okay, one more and then it's bedtime. And okay. So I feel like if you say one more then it's bedtime, and he says after that one more and then he kicks off, then you're like, no, I've just told you got one more and then we're saying bed. So I always make sure that it's more of a power play in terms of, I know, we'll have one more, but then after that, then you know it's bedtime. Yeah. So I'm very...
Set a boundary.
Yeah. And the communication has to be there from the outset.
They know that there's a boundary there. This is what is expected. This is what we're going to have. And that's where we're at. Yeah. And I think that's, again, it's setting the boundary. It's a little bit different for me because Corey's a bit older. Corey's 9. And actually, Corey probably reads better than me. So, so one more. I'm like, can we have one more? He's reading to me.
Please, Corey.
So normally with Corey's stories, he loves facts, he loves animals, he loves stuff like that. He's got his fact book, which you talked about on one of the podcasts before. So we always read this fact book quite often, but then they're not always stories. So sometimes we'll say, Dad, can we read like a story? So we read a bunch of facts and read a story. But so I've got this story that I memorized in every single word. In the middle of the day when the sun was very hot, big lion liked to lay down for a nice long nap. I know it word for word, the entire story, right? So one time I can read it without holding it.
You have to know word for word.
I know it. You joke, but this is what I actually used to do as a kid, innit? I used to, someone would read a story to me, right? I would memorize a story and people think I could read. So when I was in school, my sister used to read me, weird story, what was it? The mouse, the sparrow, and the sausage. I knew the entire story. So I remember I read it when I was a kid. My mum was like, that's like really good reading. It's like, no, I just memorized it. Just memorized it before my sister read it. And my sister used to read it with all the voices.
Therapist wet dream, innit?
Probably, yeah. So my sister used to read it to me, but she used to do all the voices. She was sick of reading stories, right? But she'd do all the voices. So then I could do all the voices. So my mum's like, wow, he's doing the voice. No, just genuinely memorized the entire story. But yeah, so when Corey would say to me like, "Can we just read another story?" I was like, "Okay, should we read my special story?" Innit? And then he's like, "Okay." So I don't even have to get the book out. I was just like, "Right, ready?" I open my hands up, like, in the middle of the day when the sun was very hot, and then I'll tell him turn the page in it, and like, turn the page. I know every page in it. So, yeah. So that's what sometimes we do in the last story. Well, not all the time, but sometimes we do like a last story because he's like, he knows that story out. He probably knows it word for word as well.
So I always end it with, there's one, if I had a magic wand. And at the end of that story, it says like, and then he goes to bed and good night, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So I tend to read, like we'll read whatever book he wants to read. And then I'm like, all right, if we're going to read one more, then we'll read this one.
Because it's like a night one.
Yeah, he already knows that that's it.
Yeah.
Like, boom. And then, but yeah. So
again, because yours are younger, like, so Corey reads like books. So like he'd be reading chapters now. So like, because I don't know where he got that reading skill from. It's not me, as we established. But so reading one more story would be like a whole month, man. So, but he can read like a Harry Potter or a Roald Dahl book. So like normally it's just chapters. So it might be like another chapter, but tend to actually, I might read a little bit, but I try to get him to read the stories now. So he'll read, and then I'll read something small, like I'll read Biff and Chip, because I can read Biff and Chip, and he's reading Harry Potter in 19. So yeah, but so again, the stories are longer. So there ain't no one. That's my point. There's not one more story because that's like a whole lot.
My kids are, so with the girls, this is more like a couple of years ago when they were both a bit younger, but I used to read longer books to them. So I'd be like, I'll read a chapter of, I read The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. I read the first one of that series. Started reading Charlotte's Web with them. But yeah, like, so.
They sound long.
Yeah, but they were longer books. That's what I wanted to do. So I was like, let's read a longer book and then we'll read a chapter every night. And then it was nice because we'll be like, all right, do you remember what happened last time? And then we'll talk about it and then we'll go, all right, let's start with this chapter. And
that's cool.
Well, I'd say to him, like, let's read 2 chapters tonight. Or if we had a bit of time, we'd like, read a little bit longer. But it was nice. It was like, all 3 of us would sit on the bed and then we'd read together. So
yeah.
It was pretty cool.
That is good. I mean, my other 2, Jada, obviously, I don't read her stories to me. She tells me about her life more than her stories. But Callan's never really liked stories. I used to read the same book. In fact, the same story, that same lion story, I read to all of them. And then we replaced parts with their little names and whatever. But Callan's never really been a big story fan. He's rather like a comic or something like that. But he's not really a fan of stories. But
it's cute. So with Ro, he gets all of his books. So he's got like a pile of books next to his bed. And he'll put all of his books on his bed before he goes to bed. And then he'll just like flip through the pages and like tell himself a story before he goes to sleep.
That's wicked. That's what you want, man. Because I think the more you do that with him, the more likely he's going to be able to be, like, his intelligence is going to improve because of him reading stories. I think it definitely helps. Non-negotiating with your kids. Yeah, that's a perfect point, bro. Do you negotiate?
No.
Nah. I feel like, we need someone that's going to disagree because I feel like we agree on most of these points. But yeah, we might have a disagreement.
But I think that falls into the whole negotiating and fucking gentle parenting.
Yeah.
It's like, Tulip, stop doing that.
Yeah. It's like, it's your way or the highway.
Tulip's going to be on OnlyFans.
So I told you, you're going to get comfortable in it. What the hell name is Tulip anyway? Because a kid Tulip.
I'm not saying it because we're getting cancelled, but everyone knows who Tulip is.
Yeah.
And where Tulip's from and what her mum looks like. That's all I'm saying.
True.
Everyone knows it. I ain't saying nothing else.
Big time.
But I'll let your imagination play into itself. But Tulip, she's OnlyFans.
She's OnlyFans now. Yeah. And her name's now.
Don't even go there. We're not going to go there.
She's got daddy issues.
Yeah, 100%. So non-negotiating with your kid. I don't think, I'm not negotiating with my kids. It's like, I think as well, it falls into the because I said so, because ultimately, bottom line is what I say is.
Well, it's like one of those things around so open-ended questions. So I saw this thing about don't ask kids open-ended. I work with kids, like teaching them, obviously. So don't ask open-ended questions because then you open yourself up to a whole range of different answers. Ask your kids closed-ended questions. So if you're going to give them a choice, you're giving them a choice between A and B.
Yeah.
And it's a good way of getting them to understand that they're the options.
Yeah.
When you say, for example, what do you want for dinner?
Yeah.
And you're like, tulip. And tulip's like, I want honey on top of smashed potato. And she's creating up some random with ice cream. You're like, what the hell? That ain't a dinner. I don't do that.
And then mum goes and does that shit.
That's messed up.
And
Or
running around the kitchen all day.
Or you've got tulip and been, I don't know, Bethany. And then they all want different meals. And then when their mum's like trying to cook this one for this one and this one for this one. And she's going nuts, right? And you're like, what? Why are you doing that to yourself? Why are you stressed out cooking 6 different meals for all your 6 kids? And
none of that.
No. It's just, do you want chicken and rice or
rice and fish? Which one? That's all you're
getting. For me, I don't eat fish. It's just chicken and rice or chicken and
pasta.
We're
obviously not that, but you get the point that we're trying to get across.
It's simple. There's very few options.
Yeah.
1 or 2 options, maybe 3 at the absolute most. And they all have to agree on the option. I ain't making 2 dinners.
100%.
You know? So at the end of the day,
I never understand parents that like end up having like 3 or 4 pots on the go. Oh, that one doesn't like that food. That one doesn't like that food. Yeah. Listen, my mum was never doing that. My mum didn't have time to. So she that. If I didn't eat it, I ain't going to bed hungry, innit? But that's why
she doesn't eat with me. She doesn't eat at all.
That's what I mean. Like,
it's from Beauty and the Beast.
I didn't hear that bit, but
but it's true, innit? If you ain't eating this dinner, then you ain't eating nothing. You come down to me. Like sometimes I've done. Maybe it sounds harsh. Maybe it sounds horrible, right? But I've said. Callan said, like, for example, it's going to be Callan. Actually, never Callan, because Callan loves his dinner, to be honest. But like, he's like, I don't want to eat this. I don't like it. I don't want. I'm full. Okay, right. If you're really full, you know, whatever, you can leave it. All right, but it's staying there, staying right there. And when you come down to me 2 hours later, I'm starving.
Your dinner's right
there. There's your dinner.
Yeah.
That's all it is. As simple as that. You now know. And then Callan went, oh, I'm not eating that again. So I mean, you ain't hungry. You ain't hungry. Because I'll tell you what, if you're in Africa and I sit and put that plate on there, that's what Mum would say to me. They ain't turning it down, bro.
So with Sienna used to just literally take the piss with her dinners.
Yeah.
So she'd be like, oh, I'm full. Or like she'd have like a few mouthfuls and then be like, I'm not eating anymore. Or she'd take ages to eat it. And that was the worst thing for me. I'd be like, hurry up and eat your dinner. Like, okay. And then just hover the spoon in front of her. I was like, cool, innit?
Or I'm chewing.
So I'll be like, which goes on to the thing, innit? I'll be like, right, you've got 5 minutes to finish your dinner. Otherwise, you're just going to bed. And you're having that for breakfast, and that's all you're having until lunchtime. I'll put a time on my phone. Bro, as soon as it hits 5 minutes, all right, bedtime then. Oh, I'm going to eat. No.
Too late.
I've done told you what was the crack.
True
so
that.
You're going to bed now, and that's your breakfast, and you're not having nothing until lunchtime. I'll put it in the fridge. They come down in the morning, heat up in the microwave. There you go. There's your breakfast.
Yeah.
Oh, you meant that. That's
count. Like you got to follow through, bro.
And that's the thing. I always follow through on anything. Wow. Yes. So like,
I'm such a
you're a child.
I am a child.
So like, I remember one time Sienna had to go to a birthday party and she was literally taking the piss with her dinner. I was like, I'm telling you, you've got 5 minutes to finish your dinner. If you don't finish within that 5 minutes, you're not going to the party.
Simple.
But timer, 5 minutes come. She was like literally 2-3 mouthfuls away from finishing. I was like,
you got
the time's gone, innit?
Yeah, time don't stop for no man.
Yeah.
That's what I always say to my kids.
I said to her, look, what did I say was a punishment? I'm not going to the party if I don't finish my dinner within 5 minutes.
Good, so you're
So you understood the punishment. Have you finished your dinner? No. Are you going to the party now? No. Cry. I don't care if you're crying.
It's too late.
Bro, I gave you your options, and you didn't follow through on it. So you're not going to get sympathy.
Yeah, no, you've given her the boundaries and the parameters to work within. And as long as it's a fair one, sometimes, you know, when we're a bit annoyed, it's like, you've got 2 minutes. I'm like, maybe 2 minutes, a little short time for that. Holding, joking in that. That's what Corey used to do. Like, and starts frying up like, maybe you got 3 minutes. And again, talking about that, I mean,
that's going into the turning the car around.
Yeah, exactly that. So making, so one of the moments where we're talking about like following through with your order, one thing that stands to mind when it's with Jada, she had this doll, right? And I said to her, if you don't carry on being naughty, blah, 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 I'm going to throw your doll in the bin. Simple as that. And then Nicola used to be like, oh, you can't throw stuff. No, can't do that stuff. Don't do that. And I followed through on so many occasions, right? First one was with her. So I put the bag and I put the doll. That's a bit harsh.
Nick or Jada?
No, Jada. Yeah, true. So I put Jada's this bag, doll in the bag. So this is like a baby Annabelle, like a 50, 60 quid doll, right? I put it in the bag and I put it on the drive at the window. She's still misbehaving. I'm like, well, it's staying there until you behave, right? That's where it's staying, outside with the bin, right? With all on top of next to the bins. And she's like, oh, she's crying or whatever. And then she's like, still misbehaving. I'm going to lie. I wasn't expected to happen so soon. Bin men turn up, innit? And bin men just took the thing and she's like, and then at that moment she realised.
She fucked up.
Exactly. She realised she fucked up. And she's like, and she just watched baby Annabelle just going, head on the neck, scratching out the side. But she learned from it. But two things she learned in that, right? First things first, Jada is the worst now in terms of like, she's like, okay. There's only one thing.
That's Sienna all day.
Only one thing I can take away from her that she'll care about. Nope. She can even deal with that, bro. Monkey.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but she knows I'll never throw it in it.
Jada, you're watching, right?
She knows I'll never throw it, but I never threaten it. I always say, don't threaten something you're not going to do.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? Because otherwise, then you can't follow through, right? Another situation, Callan had he would not brush his teeth. He had like a tooth thing. I said, you need to brush it. It had been days. And I was like, right, you carry on. I'll break your tablet, right? And like, break my tablet. I ain't going to break my tablet. It's expensive. Bro, I broke that tablet. I snapped it in half, bro. And I was like, that's it. I hit it. And I was like, it ain't going to last much longer, bro. It ain't going to last much longer. So you better start doing something or it's going to break. Next time, okay, I'll start bending it. And I was like, I don't think it can handle this bend. And he's still there. And he, I broke it in half, bro. I'm not joking. I broke it. They still remember it to this day, right? Yeah. I broke it in half and and I'm like, I don't care. He's like, you just wasted all that money. No, I didn't.
It's my money, bro.
No, bro. Because the way I see it, I didn't waste the money, bro. I wasted it when I brought it.
Yeah.
So if anything, you learn from that. I already wasted. The money was gone. Yeah. It ain't worth nothing. No one's going to pay the 70 quid or whatever it was for the new one. No, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, they're going to buy it anyway. So it's gone anyway in my house. So at the end of the day, you're just going to lose out. Simple as that. And I think it's that holding them, following through is one of those things where that's even better than the slap, because ultimately they're like, oh, damn, dad will do it. If he says he's going to do it, when they know I get to that line, there's no crossing that line. When I've said that's it, it's it.
But as well, putting a timeline on something as well. So making it a punishment, which is attainable. So for example, of course, Dan would be like, all right, you're never watching TV again. Oh, and I'm like,
this is such a gripe for me.
I'm like, you know, that's
never going to be the case. Because why threaten it?
Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
100%.
For a week. There you go. There's your timeline. So you know from Sunday to Sunday, you ain't watching TV.
Any punishment that's over a certain period of time, it don't become a punishment to them anyway, because it's just like so unfathomable. They don't know how long a week or a month is. You know what I mean? So if you say never again, they're like, oh. Do you know what I mean? It is what it is.
That.
I hate that.
Yeah.
Nicola used to do that. Like, that's it. You'll never touch your phone again. You think I'm joking? 2 days later.
All right, cool. How long is that going to last?
Exactly.
So always, for me, I always say it's got to be a punishment which you know that you can back up.
Yes, 100%. 100%, bro. Right, well, we're nearly coming towards the end of our podcast, so we've got a couple of more things here to add in.
All right, so hey, buddy. I was funny, yeah? So I was on the phone to one of my boys, and then I think Sienna asked me something, and I was like, what was that, mate? What was that? Bro, did you just call your daughter mate? And I was like, yeah, I always call him mate. Yeah. I'm like, and Rose, like, what's going on, bud? You all right? How are you, champ? Like, I always, and
I'm the same.
But they know there's a boundary. Don't cross that. But I do want to be his friend, and I do want to.
Yeah. You want to be able to be approachable.
Yeah.
And to have that. Otherwise, like we were talking about in the other podcasts, is I can have those conversations with Jada if there was never if it was just like, I'm your dad and you do what I tell you to.
Yeah.
There's always a boundary. There's always a line, but, and there's no passing it. But everything, it doesn't mean to say that, like, you can't talk and you can't be friends and friendly. I wouldn't say being friends with your kids, but I call my kids buddy. You've heard me call my kids. We have banter all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, I call them all sorts. I'm not going to say it online. So definitely get cancelled. Some of the stuff we say to each other.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? And he says stuff to me, and we have a laugh with race and laugh with everything, because I try to make sure they grow up in a situation where they don't think. Well, yeah, we take a myth out of each other, like out of our race and stuff. Yeah, man.
What do you mean, man?
We're not going to go into it, mate, because I don't want to get cancelled. So we're going to.
No.
Bruv, he's trying to come back to the fact that people think I'm Indian or Asian, and I'm not. I'm half Jamaican. I'm not even going to let you go down this path again, bro.
No. I'm Yardi.
Don't touch me, bro. Don't touch me, right?
Sorry, bro. Sorry.
But yeah, so we have a laugh about those kind of things. And I think that's important, particularly as my kids are a bit older anyway. You've got to have a little bit of level of banter. Now, we can have jokes with me, but then they do know there's a different tone of voice. So when I joke and the voice changes, it's a different tone. And I think when you change that tone, that's when they know. Yeah. It's like the look. It's just a tone change. So I think I don't agree with that, but I get the kind of idea.
I don't so not being too friendly and jovial and blah, 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 but I do want to have that level of friend. I want to be able to, when they're older, be like, Dad, do you want to go to a pub? And I'm like, yeah, cool. Like, let's go to a pub, have a drink. I feel like Sienna's going to be a good drinking partner. Ivy, not so much, because Ivy doesn't like alcohol at all, which, as a dad of a daughter, perfect. Yeah. Sienna's a tramp. Honestly, she's going like on it. Like, I swear to God. Like,
she's going to be on it. She's like, hey!
Yeah, honestly, I think she's going to be a nightmare. Like, she'll be the one who's at uni and then being like, I'm going to get smashed, and then go and piss in a bush somewhere. That's Sienna. Like, she can't hold her bladder. She's like that. Like, like
literally every podcast, this guy's like, sorry. At the end,
like, I'm a little boy.
I'm going to leave the cutouts at some point and just leave you running off to the toilet. Luckily, it's just there.
But yeah, like, so Sienna's like, literally, we'll take her anywhere, and the moment we leave the house, she's like dancing around. I'm like, you need to go to the toilet. She's like, no, I can stand still. And I'm like, you need to go to the toilet, don't you? But like, and then we'll be out, and then she'll just go and like have to go and piss in a bush somewhere. So she's going to be that girl that will get pissed up and then be pissing somewhere. But she's like such a little laddie girl. Yeah. She's so girly at the same time. Like, she's honestly like a really good blend.
That's a whole nother topic point, actually, because I want to talk about girly girls. Because there's a point that my daughter said when she was really young about, just because we're completely off subject, but I remember her saying, like, she didn't, we've got this whole thing about, girls and boys not knowing whether they're girls or boys, whatever, right? It's a whole nother subject. But I remember my daughter coming to me sort of saying,
even touching that subject.
We are touching that subject for sure. But I remember my daughter coming to me and saying, like, I want to be a boy. And it wasn't because she wanted to be a boy, it's because she wanted to do boyish stuff, and not girly stuff. So we're going to touch on that at some point in this podcast. I think it's an important little point.
Well, Sen used to play football, and she's like a pretty little blonde girl with blue eyes and everything else. And
she's very girly, but then it's really...
But then she used to play football, and honestly, she was so boisterous on the pitch.
Yeah, like, probably most aggressive.
Yeah, I wanted her to be a defender because... And I'd be like... So we've got this thing where I'd be like, be the bulldog.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I'd be like, be a bulldog. She's like, and then she'd be like really over-aggressive.
Yeah.
And I'm like, when she was defending, if I'd said that to her, honestly, she'd put in that extra like 10% to get that tackle or get the ball back or win the ball back.
She wanted to show that the bulldog.
And that was things like, and I'll be on the sideline and be like, Sienna, and then that'd be it. She'll fucking sprint off to someone and like go and put in a little crunching tackle. And I'm like, yeah, that's my girl.
About, mate.
But like, it would be so, from how she looks to how she would play, it was like a complete disparity because she was just so like aggressive with it.
And that's similar with Jada when she, so Jada's, she's 16, nearly 16, but she's also very girly in her look at times. And we did a video, you remember seeing the video that went viral, and it was basically a video of her in a dress, in a party dress, getting to a party. And then obviously she was doing parkour all the way. So she's in a dress doing parkour. So it was like, it was such a good, it went around the entire world. We took us to China and we ended up filming in China and stuff because it was this pretty, very petite at the time as well, little girl and she's doing like backflips and front flips off of walls and brick walls and stuff. So, and I think it's that same thing. It was like she looked like a girly girl, but she really, and that's one of the reasons why I think she struggled a little bit. She was like, oh, what is, now she's like, I know what I am. I know exactly everything, and I'm much more comfortable in my own skin. But there was a moment, and I think that, well, that's why I definitely think it's an interesting subject to talk about. But I think we've come to the end of our discussions regarding this.
So what would you say? Are you a trad dad?
I think I am. I think
a Gen Z dad.
Well, I don't want to be Gen Z anything, in all honesty. Oh, I've got a cramp in my leg. My bad. No, I'm saying I'm in the middle, but I actually think I'm a trad dad. But there are some things I don't necessarily agree with on it. But I'm definitely, I'm trad dad. What are you?
I'm going with what I've initially said, where I think I'm a good balance of both.
Yeah.
Where I'm very modern in a sense of I will have that emotional availability chat with my kids and say to them, like, if you need to talk to me, then I'm here for it. Because I've always said that I want to be the dad where if my daughter got pregnant at a stupid age, that she weren't going to go and have an abortion and be like, I can't tell my dad, he's going to kill me.
100%.
But then I also want to be the dad where they know that I ain't accepting that shit. And like, you need to come correct and have that respect level. But I want to be the parent that my daughter's like, Dad, I fucked up. All right, fucked up. Let's deal with it.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? So I feel like
in between.
Yeah, I feel like back in the day, I was always like dating girls when I was younger who was like, my dad can't know about us.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
And then I'd end up smashing girls in parks and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? No, it's true though, bro. Because their dad didn't, they weren't like bringing me around their dads and that. So I end up, but like, I don't want my daughter to be on
to be that with the dad issues. Yeah, 100%. So, yeah, no, I agree.
There was a point to what I was trying to say.
Skip it, bro. Anyway, I'm going to cut our video there. I'm going to cut the conversation at that point. This has been a slightly different video to what we've normally do. We're going to place that. You've watched that video, so you can see what we've been talking about as well. But slightly different format. But still
comment below as well to say whether you're a trad dad or whether you're a new era dad, kind of.
Yeah, or how you're kind of where you believe you sit in the line of parenting. As always, like and follow the Relatable Dads Unscripted, #RDU. Thanks very much for watching. And
see us next
week. In the next one. Peace.
Dad, are you finished yet? Dad.
Yeah, man, we finished this episode now. Come on, let's go out, kids.